Welcome back to Gaelic Games Fan TV. It's the match day preview show, match week 5. Plenty of big games, plenty of big action to discuss this weekend. A whole host of massive games, as there always is in the National Football League. The top two clash in the National Football League Division 1. Dublin are travelling to Derry. You've got Kerry against Tyrone. Rivalries renewed with the likes of Mayo playing Roscommon. Cavan obviously playing Meath in Division 2 as well, which I'm sure John will have a lot to say as well. Monaghan, Galway, potential relegation scrap in Division 1. I'll be looking through all the other big games in Division 2, 3 and 4. I'm joined here by John McMahon from the J-Mac podcast. John, how's things? How's life? Things are going all right for Cavan at the minute. 6 points from 8?
All's good, sir. Really glad to be on your podcast again. So really look forward to the chat tonight, and thanks for having me on. Things are going well. I have to say, things are going very well since we were last talking. Obviously, getting a very good win against Louth last Sunday in RD. So things are very positive. Looking forward to this weekend now. I think a local derby against Meath, to the best of my knowledge, we haven't played Meath now since 2018. So really looking forward to seeing what they have to bring to Kingston Breffni now on Saturday evening. Big crowd expected in Breffni Park, hopefully now on Saturday. Obviously probably an ideal time really to play a game, because I suppose there's been a lot of, could we talk in recent weeks about, the time of these games, and maybe not, at the time, maybe not really suiting families and so on and so forth. So it's ideal on Saturday evening. So I'm really looking forward to it. Loads of good games to look forward to this weekend, Mr. Prendergast. This is probably an action-packed weekend. Well, of course, every weekend is action-packed, but really big hitters playing this weekend. We'll probably know the lay of the land of the league as well, maybe after this weekend. I know you probably said last weekend, but this weekend, next weekend. But really looking forward to the chat tonight, and looking forward to interacting with everyone, our millions of viewers.
Absolutely, yeah. We've a total of 8 million people tuning in. We've only got 8 people there, but look, 8 people's good enough. Good enough, you know what I mean? I'm fine with 8 people. So the 8 people that are here, fair play to you, and hit the like button. Do us a favor.
Give a thumbs up if you're watching. We need to hear from you. This is what keeps me and Aaron going. We need interaction.
Need a bit of support. Need a bit of, to be fair, there's a lot of people who usually tune into this, in fairness. So I'm very, very appreciative of the people who do tune in. Look, we'll start with Division 1, and I suppose we'll have a look at the league table. So we've got Derry on top with 8 points, Dublin, Mayo, Tyrone, Kerry all level with 4 points there. So things are going to look a lot more certain after this weekend's games. Roscommon, Galway, Monaghan. Like, kind of crazy looking at the league table there, John. Like, just 2 points separating 8th and 2nd. So, like, I mean, like Dublin right now, like, for example, are in 2nd, but just 2 games ago there was talk of Dublin potentially getting relegated. I never really bought into that talk, to be honest with you, but like, it's mad how quickly things are turning. And like, you look at Monaghan, like, everyone's saying right now that Monaghan are possibly going to go down, but sure, 1 or 2 more wins and they'll be back in the race for a league final. So like, it's completely wide open.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And I suppose, obviously, it is going to be a really interesting weekend this weekend and the next weekend. Like, all these games coming kind of ticking fast, and lots can change, lots can happen. But I think the feeling from, and I know we'll touch on to Monaghan now in a couple of minutes, but the feeling with the Monaghan team seems to be, this could be potentially that the year they probably could go. And I know obviously people have been saying that for a number of years at this stage, and they always save their break in the last day. Like, but I just think it seems to be the last couple of results just have not gone the plan for them. And I know obviously Rory Beggan, he's a huge loss for them at the minute. They could really be doing it with the services of him. So he's probably 6 points to them, really. So he's a big loss. But like, I was talking to a couple of Monaghan supporters, and they're probably just really not happy with the team at the minute and where they're kind of going. But again, as you say, Monaghan, they could eke out a win this weekend. They could eke out a win next weekend. Like, God only knows what the Monaghan lads could do. But you could have Roscommon there, you have Galway there, you have Mayo there that could potentially go around. So yeah, like, again, I think this weekend will be very, very interesting. I think Monaghan could have been doing with a result against Roscommon there last weekend. Obviously, David Burke would have been delighted with that win there last weekend. But we're looking forward to it. It's the Division 1 table, as you say, like, it's gas the way Monaghan could be looking at the league final if we get 2 or 3 more wins. The way it kind of all pans out, but. Awesome mouthwater and clash to look forward to this weekend, and obviously Derry setting the pace at the top Of won all their games as well. So they really are very, very enjoyable to watch at the minute. Like, and it's gas. The game last weekend against Galway, like, it probably wasn't a great game, but to score what they did, to not play overly well, is probably a real testament of how they're really playing at the minute. Obviously Dublin against Kerry last weekend. I know I actually touched on my podcast there on Monday, but Dublin were, I was talking to a man there today, and he really thinks Dublin could really walk Sam Maguire this year. He really thinks Dublin are going to be probably walking up the steps of Croke Park in July. I think so myself, to be honest with you. I really think that the bit between their teeth again, and if Con can continue that form now for the rest of the season, people on Twitter might start talking about him. but that's another conversation. But no, this weekend's going to be good, my man.
Absolutely. Yeah, plenty of comments flying in here. Colleen says crunch time for most teams. Absolutely. Gavin says, well, lads, Shannon side El Clasico, Longford v Leitrim. Let's go. Absolutely. Plenty of big Derby Day weekends coming up this weekend. Leitrim, and actually, Longford by the Shannon. Maybe they are actually, are they?
There would be, Longford's not too Longford is not too far away from here, but I just wouldn't be going there in my summer holidays now. Sorry, Longford fans.
Yeah, no, that is completely fair. Derry versus Dublin, I suppose.
Moving on swiftly.
Yeah, we'll move on quickly there before any of the Midlands folks come after us there, because we don't want that. In fairness, of plenty of family from the Midlands, and look, you don't want to be getting on their bad side. That's all I'll say. But Derry and Dublin, as Sean was saying here, Fenton versus Glass would be a great contest. I'd probably still take Fenton over him, but it's a tough one. I mean, it just feels like this game is coming at the absolute right time. Like, when you look at Derry in the form that they've been, 4 wins from 4. I know some people have pointed out there maybe are still 1 or 2 players who could come back into the team, like Garrett McKinless and maybe 1 or 2 others. You look at Dublin, fair enough, a few lads still to come back into Dublin, maybe later in the year as well. But you look at Dublin's performance against Kerry and how well they played, and the performances so far from Derry so far this year. Like, this has the potential to be an absolute cracker. Like, you could argue on form, this is the 2 best teams in the country going toe-to-toe on Saturday evening.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's definitely the 2 most informed teams playing at the minute. And this weekend, it's going to be a really good game of football. Last year was really good. Obviously, Derry got over the line in a very, very tight contest. I think was in Celtic Park, and had a great win that night. And obviously, Dublin probably just weren't probably at the race in that game for large parts. But I think this weekend will be very interesting. It's a really good game to see where both teams are at. Obviously, Dublin have really shown good form in the last 2 to 3 games. Derry have been top of the pop so far this year. So it really is the 2 best teams in the country going toe-to-toe this weekend. I know obviously Kerry might have a bit to say about that as well. But as Sean Sugar says there, Fenton v Glass, like, that could be really... that could be a really mouth-water contest. Like, the pair of boys are in very, very good form at the minute. Conor Glass had a great game last weekend, man of the match. Brian Fenton probably wasn't far away from man of the match last weekend against Kerry. Fenton could get some great scores as well. So that'll be some contest this weekend. God, imagine like them pair of boys in like the Irish international rules team or something that cause havoc. But yeah, you have loads of talk points going into this one. You've Con O'Callaghan against Shane McGuigan, who'll kick the more points there and who'll get the supply of ball most. You have the Kieran Kilkenny aspect of things as well. Kieran McFall will love a game against the Dubs. And yeah, oh man, I know we said off air and you're heading up to it. In fairness, obviously, if I wasn't tied up with other games this weekend, I'd nearly be making the trip to this game, because I think it's going to be a brilliant one. It's going to be edgy. It probably will have a bit of a championship feel to it as well, because I think both teams really went. I think both teams really will want to set a marker. I think Dublin were delighted to be, as you probably witnessed at Croke Park there last weekend. Dublin were delighted to beat Kerry. I think it'll be the same crack this weekend. They will want to put a marker down against a very, very informed Derry team. Short season, Aaron. Let's not forget. You're talking the end of January. It all finishes in January. It's March this weekend. So you've only 4 months left of the season, Aaron, and it absolutely flies by. So. Yeah, both teams. It's going to be a great contest. You're hoping, obviously, it's not negative. There's going to be no negative football. Two good attacking teams when they get going. But yeah, Convy, Shane, Fenton v Glass. So much quality on the show this weekend.
Absolutely, yeah. Keane says here Dublin are back in their stride once again and should be able to get over Derry, even though it's in Celtic Park. Yeah, look, I mean, considering how well Dublin played against Kerry, look, they were absolutely brilliant. And certainly at this stage of the year, usually Dublin are quite sloppy at the early part of the league. We have been for the last two or 3 years, and then it's really when the championship comes around that Dublin seem to kick into gear. But yeah, one thing I've noticed, like even I think there's been strong cases made about Dublin last year that maybe Con's form wasn't quite there last year. I do think he was playing a slightly different role. I feel like the shackles have been left off a little bit more so far this year, which has allowed him to sort of play his game. Kieran Kilkenny, I think, has looked in top form this year, and I even think last year there were certain games where he wasn't at his best, and he was even dropped in certain games. So like you could argue, I know it's only, it is early days and everything else, and look, we'll see what happens once championship comes around, but there is a strong argument that Dublin actually look even better than they did when they won that All-Ireland a couple of months ago, because, you still have McCarthy to come in, you still have Fitzsimons to come in, but you've got young Theo Clancy, who's looked immense at fullback. And yeah, you've got a lot of top-class younger players coming through there.
Yeah, like in fairness, Dublin, I watching them against Kerry last weekend, it just kind of looked like, and I know like you've seen a lot of people, a lot of posts maybe on social media and talking with the Dublin team. It really did look like the Dublin early fold. They just really dispatched the Kerry, and I know obviously Kerry put up a bit of a fight in the second half, but it just really looked like Dublin were kind of back to themselves. It looked like there was a lot of good coaching that's gone into them in recent weeks. Like the form of Con, like even Cormac Costa wasn't playing. Like Fenton kind of looked back to his best. Kieran Kenny kind of looked like he was dictating things around the field. Owen Merchant had a great game against David Clifford. So it really looked kind of the Dublin of old, a very kind of controlled Dublin performance. I know it is still only the league, but I keep saying to Aaron, the season will absolutely fly by. So now probably is the time to, if you are a player in the Dublin team, to start hitting form and start getting your mojo and getting your, stamping your charity on the team. So as you say, look, you have a lot of quality to come back in. You have your McCarthy's, your Cluxtons, Jack McCarthy to come back in, Paul Mannion, Costello, but yeah, Tom, I'm looking at Tom McGarren's comment there. Like that's, they are littered with talent. I know Kerry and Derry will have a big say in this All Ireland this year, but at this minute in time, I really, and this probably put a smile in your face, Aaron, but I really think, and I know obviously we'll talk about this later on in the year, but I really do think Dublin will get the job done this year, and I think they will be lifted to stand, because they looked back to themselves there last weekend. This game will be a very big test from this weekend, but yeah, they were very enjoyable to watch last weekend. I think they've done a lot of things right.
Absolutely. Yeah, Graham says here, how's things, pal? Let me get you a point up in Derry. Absolutely, Graham. Hope all is well with you. Also a nice little €2 donation here as well. I think that's the first time anyone's ever donated in live. So you know what, Graham? I'll get you a point. I'll be getting you a point.
Will we split that, Aaron? €1 each.
€1 each. You can get yourself an animal bar there or something. Animal bars even. Remember they used to be 20 cents. Now they're like
it's gone up. Freddo bars are what, €2 or €3 these days. Oh, the country's a joke.
No, but yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, give me a shout, and yeah, like I'll be up there at the game, and same for anyone else. If anyone's at the game, like feel free to send me a message, and I'll be more than happy to to grab a point with anyone. In fairness, who's at the games. Cavan says here, Dublin look good there last year, then Derry sneaked the win, so maybe something similar this year. And Tom says can't see anyone stopping Dublin with their panel. They look hungry again. Cluxton, McCarthy, McCaffrey, Mannion, Costello, Pascal. Yeah, and like that's the point. Like against Kerry, there was no Costello. Like Mannion still has to come back in as well. Con Pascal's been in and out. A2 says just hope we play with the same pace and intensity as we did on Saturday. The result will take care of itself. Yeah, like speaking of the opposition though, with Derry, like you can't underestimate them either though, because 4 games, 4 wins. Yeah. A lot of the wins have been fairly comfortable as well. Conor Glass has just carried on his form from Watty Graham's Glen. Like he hasn't slowed down at all. And And I suppose, as the lads were saying on Allianz League Sunday, like maybe they didn't play as well as previous games. But to be honest with you, considering how comfortably they beat what is a very good Galway team, in my opinion, I don't necessarily think I'd agree with that. And you've got so many big performers as well, like Owen McAvoy getting a goal the other week as well. Brendan Rodgers is standing up. Shane McGuigan's doing the business. Young Cormac Murphy looks very good as well. So, look, Derry will be absolutely at it. And I suppose Mickey Hart, like, he knows if he can get a result and a win against Dublin at home, like that's a big statement. 5 wins from 5, and 2 of them have been against Kerry and Dublin.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's a born winner, and he really will be looking for a win this weekend. And I think he's that probably obsessive, and obviously he's played Dublin so many times over the years. He will just keep win. And I think that probably is his mantra this year. Don't be looking at losses, don't be looking at draws. Let's just keep winning, win the Dr. McKenna Cup, win the Allianz National Football League, and just keep going at it. And I think he will have a plan for this Dublin team. They will make Celtic Park fortress this weekend. He'll probably get your eyes open there, up there, Aaron, probably with the crowd and the banter and the slagging. The banter will be great, and in fairness, it'll be great. It'll be a great atmosphere up there. So it's a lovely venue up there, but. Yeah, in fairness, I have been impressed, and he's probably I think obviously Conor Glass and Shane McGuigan probably are getting all the plaudits for Derry at the minute, but I am really impressed with Kieran McFall. I was really impressed for him when he was playing for Glen in the All Ireland Championship and the Ulster Championship for his club, and then I think he's really. He doesn't get the plaudits, but he goes about his business really quietly. He works hard. He gets up and down the pitch. He kind of does the kind of donkey work, and then he kind of feeds the ball upfield. So I am very impressed by his form. And obviously, Chrissy McCaig, man, in the full back line. Be interested to see who he picks up this weekend. Is more than likely going to be Con. So, and again, I said on Seamus Brady's podcast there a couple of weeks ago, obviously Shane McGuigan's, we really should be kind of giving that man as much credit as possible, because what he's doing at the minute, averaging 10 points a game. And Mr. Clifford, as I keep saying, gets all the plaudits and your Cons. But I think Shane really, he is flying for Derry at the minute. He's having a great campaign. He's so accurate. He's a great finisher. So, it's. I really do hope. I know me and we could wax lyrical about it all night. But I really do hope it lives up to its billing, because for the standard and quality of player that's on both teams, we could be and hopefully will be in for a cracker.
Yeah, and I suppose we seen last week Owen Merchant pick up David Clifford, which I think surprised a lot of people. I think obviously with the fact that Mick Fitzsimons isn't playing at the minute, there were some questions over who would pick up Clifford. Some were maybe saying you put young Theo Clancy on him, maybe you put Lee Gannon on him. I would have thought, but he went and obviously put Owen Merchant on him. Could Owen Merchant pick up Shane McGuigan? I mean, that would be an interesting one, picking up Clifford one week, Shane McGuigan the next week, or what do you reckon?
Look, not beyond the realms of possibility, my man. You're probably talking when he's in Dublin training. You could be marking your Costellos. You could be marking your Cons. You could be marking Paul Manuel. All these great players. So Owen Merchant probably well used to picking up these great players. It will be very interesting to see if he does, because he done such a good job with Clifford there last weekend that he'd be well capable of it. But it will be very interesting, because obviously Shane McGuigan does kick a lot of frees. So I think from the dead balls, obviously, Dublin probably will be fine in that regard, because they'll probably not want to foul Derry as much when, Derry are going forward. But I think from general play, Shane McGuigan, Owen Merchant, I think that could be a fine match, because look, if Merchant could do what he's done against Clifford there last weekend, again this weekend, Dublin will not be far away. But yeah, that man will take stopping, because he's been in superb form there last year as well for Derry, nearly leading them to an All-Ireland final. But Merchant could be the very man, and it's funny, obviously the height of Merchant, and everyone kind of saying even Clifford even has a few inches on him, and he's still done a very good job. So Merchant just kind of gets up and gets on with it. But it's going to be a great spectacle, Mr. Prendergast.
Absolutely, yeah. And I suppose with McGuigan playing in a full forward, maybe it might be Clancy that picks him up. But I suppose Clancy's obviously been freshly into the Dublin team recently, so whether they do put him on him, I think could be a bit of a risk at the same time. But we will have to wait and see. In terms of a prediction, then, what do you reckon? Do you think the Dubs could win it? Which would be a big win, because obviously Dublin lost away to Derry last season in the league in Division 2. They had a big lead and then they threw it away in the second half. What do you reckon? Derry at home? I mean, I think Derry might be slight favourites.
Very, very tight. It's going to be very, very tight. It's again, I think it will be very like last year. I can't see either team really pulling away from either team. It'll go down to the wire. I think it'll be a kick of a ball near the end. It might be a free to win it. It might be McGuigan free to win it. It could be who's taking the frees for Dublin these days. Is it who's taking the frees for Dublin? Or is it Con? Is he taking the frees? I think.
It would usually be Costello, but Costello's obviously not on the side.
So you say. So used to saying Dean Rock, but obviously Mr. Rock's retired.
Ross McGarry, Paddy Small, they'd range between all of them, really.
Yeah, it varied. Paddy Small doing very well for Dublin at the minute as well. Probably going to be more an hour, and this you might probably leave Celtic Park probably with a bit of a glum kind of phase, but I might just sit in the fence and I might just go to draw here because it is at this current minute in time, two teams are flying and not much to separate two teams, so I might just go to draw. And then if either team's going to win, I know you probably have to say either team. It'd probably be a point in the difference, but I go with a draw and a very close affair this weekend.
Absolutely, yeah. Graham was saying here as well. That's Dublin's problem. We don't have a free taker. Yeah. I suppose at the minute with Costello's injury and obviously Dean Rock retiring, there's probably not a designated free taker. Obviously, Cluxton not on the side as well. But I think I'll back Dublin for this one. I think after that win versus Kerry, with how well they performed, how well they played, the work that we're getting pressing up on kickouts, and I think with Derry, like they've got 4 wins on the board. They've been absolutely brilliant so far. I don't think like if they play that version of Dublin at the weekend, I do think Dublin will win the game. Now the question will be, look, Dublin are very inconsistent in the league at the best of times. And last year, they were very inconsistent in patches. And sometimes you don't know what you're going to get with Dublin. But I do think if that version of Dublin turns up, I do think they'll have enough. And I also think there's a case as well where Derry don't need really anything from this game. We actually think about it because like they've got 8 points.
They will want to win it, though.
They will. They absolutely will. But I don't think it'll be the end of the world if they lose it. And look, I don't think it's the end of the world if Dublin lose it either. But I think Derry are probably on course for a league final, even if they do lose this,
It is very interesting, and I know again these early days, but look, we will only have 4 months left of the year. When this game finishes, I think if Dublin were to beat Derry this weekend, I think it probably would set a bit of a marker down, and like a lot of fans and supporters and pundits, so on and so forth, would be saying, right, Derry were kind of flying up until this, and if Dublin were to win this weekend, a lot of people would be saying, right, where did Derry stand to win in All Ireland? That's probably the way a lot of people will be talking after the game. So I think if Dublin were to go over the line, it probably set a marker down and said, right, we're here to do back to back and get our show on the road and try to do 3, 4, 5, whatever. So obviously if Derry win, it'll be a good kind of marker to see where they're at. But yeah, look, roll on, big man, roll on.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think I will go for Dublin to just about edge it, but I think it's going to be very close, and I think it's going to be an absolute cracker. In fairness, Kerry versus Tyrone, obviously, two more teams that know each other very well. I feel like Tyrone always seem to do this in the league, where they're on a bad run of form, and then they play Mayo and Kerry back to back, and they just. It's been a common theme over the last couple of years. You think back to 2021 as well. Everybody wrote Tyrone off, and then they beat Kerry and Mayo to win the All Ireland, and it's been like that. I remember a couple of years ago in the league as well when they beat Mayo and Kerry in the final 2 games. Could they do it again? Beat Kerry away from home after Kerry's, I suppose, lackluster performance, and the fact that Tyrone did look very good against Mayo, in particularly in the second half.
Yeah, another really good game to look forward to this weekend, and a big heavyweight clash like this, and 2 teams that know each other very, very well over the years. So no, this will be hopefully a great game this weekend. And I think Tyrone, after last weekend, that kind of the game against Mayo, and obviously Darren McCurry coming on and kicking 8 great points. It'll be very interesting. I'm presuming he will be in from the start, not like last weekend. So he'll have to be in from the start after that form he showed last weekend. But yeah, another great game to look forward to. Jack O'Connor looked probably disappointed after the Dublin game there last weekend. He'd be mad to kind of get right the wrongs from last weekend. As you say, can Tyrone do this thing of, beating Mayo and then beating Kerry? Again, it will be interesting. But I just think Kerry, I think Kerry probably I think Kerry's need is that bit greater. Obviously David Clifford, he'll probably not be happy with his, not to mount too much pressure and attention on David, but I suppose this is the territory he comes with. He probably will be disappointed with his, league campaign, so far. So I think he'll be mad to kind of right a few wrongs this weekend. And obviously Paudie Clifford has been quite enough by his standards. He's good. He was very good against, I think it was Mayo last weekend. But I suppose these games are coming thick and fast, so it's hard to keep that level of quality up and up. But yeah, like it's an intriguing sort of clash. And Tyrone, again, very much like the other teams in Division 2, you do not know what you're going to get with Tyrone, because a lot of people probably would have fancied Mayo to win that last weekend, obviously with the players leaving Tyrone, obviously Fergal Logan not being about for Tyrone. Obviously we wish him well with his recovery, hope he's doing well, but you just don't know what you're going to get with Tyrone. It really, it's a complete mixed bag. They could really show up this weekend and go up to the Kingdom and just absolutely tear into them, and Darren McCurry could shoot the lights out. But I just think Kerry will be frustrated with probably how the league has gone. Dublin really dictated them last weekend, much to your delight, Aaron. So I think, as one commenter there did say, you'd expect a kick out of Kerry. I think it probably will come against this weekend. Tyrone have bet them a lot in recent years. Kerry will want to get that record right again. And yeah, I think Kerry, how do you describe it, Aaron? I think Kerry will be angry this weekend, and I think you'll see a very different Kerry this weekend. You can only just presume, Aaron, because I keep saying the season's flying, months are flying. Kerry probably will need to get themselves sorted and organised and going. So, yeah, expecting a response from Kerry this weekend, and God knows what Tyrone team's going to turn up.
Absolutely, yeah, and especially Kerry at home. Like, it is a long L distance for the Tyrone lads to travel down and everything else. Killeen has a good point here as well. As an Armagh fan, I hate to admit it, but Tyrone can turn on the magic, but can they do it consistently? Like that is the criticism of Tyrone. And I know on the last show, myself and Matthew were getting a few comments from a few Tyrone supporters, even though we praised them for the win, but I suppose you can't please everyone sometimes. But yeah,
sorry, Aaron. Welcome to the world of punditry. You're never right. You're never wrong. You're never in between. I don't know. It's a very it's tough. It's tough going.
Yeah. But sure, look, as Dubs, we're used to the abuse anyway, so it's all well and good, but
still there.
But yeah. I think I've still got you.
It's funny there. I was just saying about punditry. Welcome to the world of punditry. You're never right, you're never wrong, and then our line drops when that starts to happen. So I don't know, was that in the waters?
Yeah, no, I think my own microphone just disconnected there. But I was speaking about Tyrone. Yeah, the Tyrone, obviously Tyrone's inconsistency. It's been I can't actually remember the last time Tyrone put 3 or 4 wins back to back against top teams. And that's the problem with Tyrone. I don't think anyone's doubting the ability. When they have all their best players there, and Dara Canavan and Darren McCurry, they won an All-Ireland 3 years ago. I know a good bulk of those players have left, but there's a huge amount of talent in the county, under 20 All-Ireland success as well. So the problem is they just can't do it consistently enough. So yeah, you'd look at it and Kerry at home, especially you'd expect a kick out of them, so you would expect them to kick on and win it.
Yeah, definitely. And you can hear me all right, yeah? All good.
Yeah, I can hear you all right.
Sorry, no, I thought the line was a bit dodgy. No, I think there will be a response from Kerry, and I think Jack O'Connor, I keep saying it, that he'll not be impressed the way Kerry went about the business last weekend, and better game than a Tyrone game to kind of get these Kerry lads up and going. I know obviously Paddy Tally, he'll be mad to put one over his native county Tyrone, and he'll be studying to Tyrone lads this week for the Kerry lads. But yeah, I think that they'll not be impressed. As I said, you probably see a different, a potentially angry Kerry team. Obviously, it's in Kerry, isn't it, Aaron? Yeah, it is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's up in Kerry. Long trip for the Tyrone lads. Obviously going down the night before, whatever they decide. Common sense would say that, but obviously sometimes the county teams it sometimes leads the opposite. But yeah, you'll see a different Kerry this weekend, and obviously, I suppose the way the Kingdom were, it was just like last weekend. I don't know. It kind of did go to show, and obviously you were at the game yourself, and you're probably seeing closer to hand. But it probably does see this over reliance. I know Sean O'Shea's been tried at full forward at the minute, and has it gone to plan? I don't really think so. It probably. Well, I think who tweeted that the weekend, was it you McKenna or Wilberto or some of these boys just saying that's, actually Mal McMullen, I think actually our fellow pundit on the podcast, he just said that's probably the end of the Clifford and Sean O'Shea experiment. So I think it's probably time for Sean O'Shea to go back to centre half forward and put in Clifford full forward. So that experiment, it'll be interesting to see what happens, with that this weekend, because obviously them two pair of boys are fantastic footballers. So Kerry will need big games from them lads, but it does go to show, and I think this could potentially might come back to haunt Kerry in the All-Ireland stages. If Clifford's radar isn't on for Kerry, like it wasn't against Dublin last weekend, and I know Kerry have been blessed with forwards over the years, if Clifford's radar's not on, Kerry look like they're in real bother. And I think I said it to you or some lads a couple of weeks ago, Dublin have so many forwards. I think Derry maybe, if they can unearth maybe one forward to maybe help Mr. McGuigan up front. But this is why Dublin are so powerful, so strong. They have an array of forwards, an array of talent. And this is why they've won so many All-Irelands, because they've been blessed with forwards. Whereas if Clifford's radar's not on, or Shane McGuigan's radar's not on for Derry, them two teams probably will struggle later down the line, but that's maybe for another day's conversation. But yeah, it's going to be a good one this weekend, hopefully.
Absolutely. What are you thinking then? You're going for Kerry to win at home?
Yeah, again, big trip for Tyrone. I know that probably doesn't have a part to play. Maybe it does. I don't want to do Shane Cornan off the ball there and say that maybe the Tyrone lads won't have breakfast that morning or talk call what he was saying the night before the All-Ireland Club final. But I think you'll probably look at. I think if you're a Kerry fan, and I know a lot of Kerry fans are probably giving out a bit the game there last weekend, but if you're a Kerry fan, you'll be expecting a big performance. You'll be expecting a different Kerry this weekend. I think Kerry get over the line here, and I think it's time for them really to stand up and get their season underway, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Kerry as well. I think just about, though, because Tyrone showed like a lot of quality, obviously, towards the end of that Mayo game, and in particular in the second half. So you would expect Tyrone to come out all guns blazing and start very strong. But I do think Kerry will just about have enough to come through by a point. Mayo against Roscommon. Obviously, no love lost between the Mayo men and the Rossi men down the years. Obviously, Roscommon turning over Mayo last year, which I know was certainly probably the highlight of the year for most Roscommon fans, and certainly probably one of the worst moments of the year for Mayo fans. Just a week after they'd won the league final. Big win for Roscommon the last time out. Obviously, a resounding win against Monaghan in more ways than one. Can they go away to Mayo and pull off a big shock? Or is it even a big shock anymore if Roscommon win away to Mayo? Because they seem to be making a good habit of it at this stage.
Is it? Well, I tell you what, I wouldn't mind being along the sideline for this one and hearing Kevin McStay and Davy Burko toe-to-toe this weekend. My God, there will be a lot of stuff going on there now. They'll be asking each other what time it is during the game, no doubt. But yeah, obviously Kevin McStay going up against his former charges. Mayo look like, and obviously Mayo fans probably won't thank me for this. I know you have a lot of Mayo supporters, Aaron, but I think Mayo probably are in a spot of bother, and our good fellow pundit Kevin Kennedy has kind of done a lot of stats on them this year, and he hasn't been probably impressed with their shooting power and not, basically being able to score from the left-hand side flank and not offering there not offering much down that end. And obviously, James O'Donoghue and Paddy Andrews saying on the football pod that there's probably not any Mayo player, the top 10 players in the country at the minute. And he was actually doing a list with a lad there today, and do you have Ryan O'Donoghue potentially in that list? And after that, I'm not too sure what Mayo players you could really include in that. But I think they are in a spot of bother, and I really don't think for Mayo at this stage, like they have been poor so far in the league, and obviously Kevin McStay will not be happy with that. But I just think they're I even think regarding All Ireland, I think they're still, they really aren't really near Dublin, Kerry, and Derry's level at this current minute in time. It's hard to really put your finger on what the crack is really with Mayo, probably very one-dimensional and haven't really gone away from old failings and old tactics and old players, probably for want of a better word. But Roscommon will be confident after getting the win against Monaghan last weekend. Davy Burke will be mad to put one over Mayo. They need points badly. Both teams definitely need points, of course, but it will be interesting. Roscommon, I think Roscommon probably, like, I've always said about Roscommon's forwards, like if they can really stand, if they could stand up this weekend, it'll be interesting. But yeah, again, a tight game. Will we see much quality in it? I'm not too sure. Two teams probably not in great form really. Not probably going to be a game for the ages, but could you be looking at a draw here? Probably a 1 or 2 point win for either team. But yeah, I think Roscommon. I think the Rossies might it could be their weekend this weekend. They might just sneak a win here.
Yeah, Keane is saying here, tipping the Rossies to beat Mayo. Mayo have been off the boil in their last few games, while Roscommon got a vital win over Monaghan. A win here for Roscommon, and I think they will be safe. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think 5 points I think would be enough. Certainly, I think. A2 says Ray Charles could tell how Mayo are going to play. Is McStay ever going to try something different? Yeah, like I suppose that is the criticism of Mayo, and I know our good friend Kevin Kennedy has obviously been saying that as well. Like, they haven't really changed much how they play football over the last few years. And when you watch Mayo under McStay and you watch Mayo under James Horan, it's very similar. It's just running the ball, not really kicking it, not much variation to their play, a lot of athleticism, bursting, forward wing backs, obviously trying to get the ball into Ryan O'Donoghue, maybe too much at the best of times. Like, when they're at it and when they're good and when they're all on form, they're very, very hard to stop. But it does feel like when you've got 1 or 2 players that are sort of out of the cog a little bit with Mayo, the house of cards seems to crumble down very, very quickly. And yeah, I'd probably agree with Keane as well. I'd actually fancy Roscommon to win this, because after how well they played against Monaghan, the confidence that would have given them. Donny Smith obviously back in the side from his suspension. Enda Smith's been absolutely brilliant as well. And look, Roscommon have been there. They did it. They did it obviously last season in the championship. I know Mayo obviously beat them in the league. But yeah, I'd fancy the Rossies to win this, in fairness.
Yeah, like, and they will definitely be thereabouts this weekend. But like, again, Mayo very much like Tyrone. You don't know what Mayo you're going to get this weekend. I'm very angry Kevin McStay in training this weekend because this week, because he definitely wouldn't have been happy with how things have been moving. Again, you wouldn't be surprised if Mayo potentially. I know I kind of did hype up the Rossies there a couple of seconds ago, but again, you wouldn't be surprised if Mayo were to get a result here after the poor performances in recent weeks. So, again, you don't really know. Like, two managers that probably are under a lot of pressure, like Davy Burke with Roscommon and Kevin McStay. So both managers definitely would be under pressure to start getting results and start getting performances and getting stuff out of players. But like, it's a funny sort of game. Like, and I know obviously Roscommon with Davy Burke, we've heard in recent weeks with the amount of training sessions he's been doing and getting players out and getting them motivated, so on and so forth, and getting that kind of will to put on the Rossi jersey. But like, it's a funny sort of game. I'm probably reneging what I'm saying here, but I look at McStay will be disappointed. He knows all about Roscommon now after coaching them a couple of years ago. Yeah, I think the Mayo faithful will be happy. I think Mayo will up the ante, and I think they probably will get a result. But it's papering over cracks. I know obviously we and you'll be talking later on in the year about All Ireland candidates and so on and so forth. But they might get a win this weekend. But regarding even a Connacht title potentially this year, they might win one. But an All Ireland, they can forget about it for the time being.
Yeah, Gavin says, Hart says Roscommon, Brain says draw. Ref and Shag Boys €100 bet should be interesting when they meet again in April. Yeah, like anytime I see Ref on Twitter, he's always going mad at Roscommon anyway. He certainly has a fair few agendas with Roscommon. So I'd say if Roscommon do beat Mayo, you probably won't see him for at least a couple of weeks anyway. But yeah, there we go. So you were going for a Mayo result. I am going for Roscommon. Monaghan versus Galway. Monaghan, it's not looking good for them at the minute. Galway, 3 points on the board so far.
Yeah.
Do you think your neighbours are going down, or do you think they can pull off the Great Escape again? I mean, you wouldn't bet against them.
Yeah, put it past them. Look, Monaghan, it's very funny, and obviously the Dublin game a couple of weeks ago, the first game to get the ball rolling, you thought, right, Monaghan's in for a good league campaign, and they just kind of fell away since, and they have not been good. I don't know, is it the Rory Beggan factor? Is that playing a bit of a part in the squad? Him not being about such a leader, such a great player for them in recent years, like him not being back around the dressing room and just being away, like is that having a big impact on the squad? And suppose the media noise around him, is that kind of a bit of a sideshow for them and him? I'm not too sure, and that's maybe having a bit of an impact on results. Monaghan, obviously, Conor McCarthy and you have Jack McCarron, but like it probably a lot of it always seems to boil down to like Conor McManus, and like I think if they're going to keep relying on Conor McManus to dig them out of holes, as we've seen against Armagh last year in the championship, I think it's time to kind of start to move on from that. And I think it's time for the likes of Jack McCarron to really stand up and be counted, because Conor McManus, and obviously I know he was on the BBC Social podcast with Tom Zibrook and saying about All Ireland and saying this, that, and the other, but Conor McManus, like you're talking about your coaching hat being put on at this stage. He's 35, 36 years of age. So I think for them to keep going back to McManus and, relying on him, I think they really need to, I suppose, move away from that at this stage. A top class player, but, he's not, he's not a 70-minute man anymore. So is this the year Monaghan go down? It will be very interesting to see. Can they get a result this weekend? Galway, poor against Derry last weekend. Well, not too bad considering, they're obviously missing Comer and Shane Walsh at the minute. I think when them pair of boys come back, they'll be a different animal completely. I don't know. I think if Galway put in a similar like performance like they did against Derry, and obviously improve on their finishing, I think they will have enough to beat Monaghan this weekend. So yeah, again, probably a tight encounter expected. Probably not the greatest quality game either, I'd say. Again, Monaghan very much like Tyrone. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to get with them, but yeah, Galway. You see, I don't know. Like, is Shane Walsh and Comer, like, are they going to be fit for this weekend, Aaron? Do you know that? No,
I don't think so. To be honest, I don't think so. Like, they haven't been around the last couple of weeks. They haven't been anywhere near the panel really. So it's hard to know. Like, so you won't really know until like most county teams, it's a closed shop really until the weekend. I think from what I've seen anyway, it looks like they've been very cautious with the both of them, because I think as we've seen with Galway, when they don't have those two available, they do massively struggle. So I think there is an argument of holding them lads back for the championship and everything else, especially when you look at Crokes obviously going as far as they did in the All Ireland series and everything else with Shane Walsh. Like, he's played a lot of football over the last 2 years. Do you reckon Conor McManus comes back in for Monaghan? Do you think he
well, it's kind of got to that stage. Like, do you bring back the Messiah? Like, is the Messiah fit to do this anymore? But he's kind of like he's such a fantastic player. He's such a fantastic ambassador for Monaghan over the years. But I keep saying it, like it is a time for the likes of Jack McCarron to really stand up and I suppose take carry on the content. I know obviously Kieran Hughes retired. Kieran would be a big loss, I think, to that kind of Monaghan setup, kind of that bit of energy he always brought on to the Monaghan kind of setup over the years. But Monaghan, like, they just haven't had a good league campaign. Galway have been kind of going about their business in an okay sort of way, but. Like, again, another funny sort of game, but I just think the way things are at the minute and the way I suppose Monaghan have been moving, obviously Monaghan do need to get points as well as that. So it's a funny sort of kind of psychology kind of going into it. But again, it's funny, you wouldn't be surprised if Monaghan were to pull off some sort of a result. But I think if Galway I don't know if Shane Walsh could even come on, or if Comer if they can get a few minutes of either of them boys, I think that could swing the vote for him. So yeah, I think Galway might just get over the line this weekend.
Yeah, Sam was saying here, Dublin to end Derry hype. Are Derry all hype? I don't think so. Yeah, no, look, I'm just asking the question. That's basically what that is. I don't necessarily think Derry are all hype, but I do think at the same time Dublin will give Derry a small reality check this weekend. And look, could be famous last words. I've certainly got many predictions wrong. So yeah, feel free to come back to me and laugh at me and everything else when Derry go and absolutely hammer Dublin now. But no, look, Derry are going to be there come the end of the year. Absolutely, no doubt about that. Keane says Galway to shade it, and A2 says Galway have performed admirably considering they're missing 3-4 of their best players. Yeah, look, I've got a feeling about Monaghan, and it's just because of the fact that they've been here so many times and they turn up when it matters most, and you feel like at home, in Clonus, you feel like if they're not going to get anything from this weekend, I do think it's done. And I think for that reason, they're going to give absolutely everything. And we're going to see the best version of Monaghan that we've seen so far.
Probably, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
So I'm going to go for them to win. I'm going to go for them to upset Galway ever so slightly, which I know in current form, that doesn't really make sense given Monaghan's recent results. And I do agree. Galway have looked all right the last few weeks, but
it's funny though. Like with a lot of these games, you can overthink a lot of these games because, like when you're looking at them, you're looking at corners, you're looking at little bits along the way. Can this happen? This happen? And it's kind of like nearly for the weekend of overthinking. But yeah, you could really make a strong case for both teams. But I think it's do or die for Monaghan now these last couple of games. But I don't know. Like it's hard to know will they get that form back so quickly after last weekend. But yeah, it's hard to call it.
Absolutely. Yeah, but look, let us know in the comments down below what's your predictions for the Division 1 games. Looking at Division 2, we'll start with Cavan versus Meath. You were saying at the top of the show, obviously a bit of a traditional historic rivalry between Cavan and Meath. Obviously you don't get to play each other very often, so I think a lot of people forget that there is a good rivalry between both of yourselves. Obviously, two counties that aren't too far away from each other as well, albeit in two different provinces. But yeah, like excited for this. You said you're going to the game, obviously. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than this. You win this, and you set up that Armagh game as a huge little outsider for promotion.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a good game this weekend. We're all looking forward to it now. It's a perfect time, 7:00 on a Saturday evening. It's a beautiful time for a game. You know, a lot of people are kind of saying in weeks previous the Cork game being a 4 on a Saturday and so on and so forth. So yeah, it sets it up perfectly this weekend, and we're all kind of looking forward to it. And yeah, very impressed with how things have gone so far this year. You know, obviously at the start of the year, you're thinking, right, Ray Gallagher, how's things going to go for him and the ins and outs and county management. But you know, he literally can't beat bar the Donegal game. And obviously Donegal beat us only by 1 point to Breffni Park there a few weeks ago. So yeah, he has to be very, very impressed. A very good win against Louth last weekend. Obviously, I think we had 13 players to finish up the game and we still got over the line. And obviously another good win against Cork the week before. And then obviously a 1 point defeat to Donegal and then Kildare, beating Kildare the first round. But yeah, it's gone well. Paddy Lynch is absolutely shooting lights out. You know, averaging about 8-9 points a game. He's really doing well. I'm delighted for him. I think I said it to you last year, the year before. He probably has been the forward cap, and I've been crying out for years at this stage. He's a very impressive lad. You know, he has all it takes to be that sort of kind of marquee forward. Like he's strong, he's big, he's probably the perfect example or prime example of what a county player probably needs to look like these days. And obviously Darren McVeety is injured at the minute. He'll be a welcome addition when he comes back. And you know, Kieran Hall, Brady, James Smith from Crushlaw had a great game there last weekend. So yeah, you do have a strong kind of Cavan team there at the minute, and a lot of lads are, you know, chomping at the bit to get their starting jerseys. And you know, this weekend against Meath, it'll be no different. It's a local derby. Meath probably quite up and down sort of League Two, good wins the last couple of games. Meath probably trying to still figure themselves out and figure the squad out, and obviously a few lads come back from injury, but yeah, it's going to be a good game. Hopefully a good crowd in Kingspan Breffney as well. A good kind of crowd comes out. It's really a perfect time for a lot of people. So hopefully there'll be big, obviously Cavan and Meath kind of crowd come down. The slag and the bond, there's a bit of rivalry throughout the years. There's always good kind of crack. And Meath will cause a few, like, it will be a tight game. And obviously Cavan are in very good form at the minute, and probably riding a bit of a crest wave. But it'll not be easy this weekend. You still have a lot of good quality Meath footballers to shut down the likes of Matthew Costello. I'm not sure on Jordan Morris's fitness this weekend. Obviously, Jordan's playing his club football at Cavan these days for Kingskirk. So, yeah, it's going to be a good game. It'll not be negative. Like, I think the last time these lads said at the start of the podcast, they played back in 2018. I think that was the last time they played each other, and they played each other in challenge matches. So, haven't played each other on a whole pile of haven't got a chance to play each other a whole pile of time. So, yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good fun on Saturday night.
Absolutely, yeah. Killeen says here, from an Armagh point of view, if we get the win from Fermanagh, Cavan always make me nervous. Yeah. Look, I mean, Cavan are coming over the hill. Gavin says here, mad. Cavan have no games on TV. Armagh beat Cavan.
Don't start me, Gavin. Don't start me. Do not start me on this. Yeah, very frustrating at the minute. I think it's just. You would be like it's kind of hard to know where the really kind of I don't know. Like I was kind of making a joke. Like we do play football. Like we do play football to the GA people, but like I thought by going up to Division 2, right, we're going to get a lot of games. There's going to be a lot of media exposure, and it just hasn't turned out like that at all. And realistically, this game's not going to be on the box. I know obviously a lot of people will hope to get to it, but this game's not going to be on the box. To my knowledge, the Armagh game's not going to be on the box. I think I was watching your podcast the other night, but yeah, the Armagh game, to my knowledge, Aaron's not going to be on it either, unless there's going to be changes. Fermanagh game's not going to be on it either. So definitely has been disappointed in that regard. So, the Cork game probably would have been a great game to be shown, because it would have been very difficult for a lot of people to get away to that game up to Cork on a Saturday morning, essentially. And obviously, Cavan people, the viewing figures would be great. Cork figures would have been great, but obviously GA Go just didn't think that way. So it definitely has been kind of disappointing in that regard that GA Go probably hasn't really given us, I suppose, a fair crack at whip, especially going up the divisions and expecting to see your county kind of play. And, Armagh have really got a fair crack at whip on GA Go. Donegal have, even Fermanagh have. Mayo always seem to get their games on TV for some ungodly reason. So it's been weird, but look, this is the world we live in.
Yeah, like, I mean, was the Donegal game was on TV though? I think that was the only game that was on TV, was it?
The Donegal game wasn't even on TV, Aaron.
No.
Yeah. Wow. The Donegal game wasn't on TV. Like, and it's hard to really know. You'd be scratching your head, and it's obviously circumstances and obviously the nature of people's lives getting away to games, but it's just probably for the older generation not being maybe fit to watch Cavan games, or oh geez, like if someone in their 70s or 80s, oh god, how's Cavan doing, or I'd love to see them in the box, just haven't got the opportunity to see them part of the Kenny Cup games potentially. So it's going to be continuing, because to my knowledge there's no games going to be streamed or shown, and it's just, I suppose it is very disappointing. But look, it's hopefully next year things will change, circumstances might change, and we might get a bit of a look in. But it's a good one this weekend, and it just seems to be like, I suppose if for a lot of Cavan faithful or fans, it's probably, if you haven't got a chance to see them so far this weekend's the ideal opportunity. It's a local derby. Meath will be coming down. It's a short enough trip for them. So, yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah, obviously Meath coming in with a little bit of form, back-to-back wins, obviously against Louth and Kildare. So, like, coming in with a bit of form, I mean, obviously yourselves are in great form as well. 3 wins from 4. Like, so it does have the makings of a good game. But, like, where do you think Meath are at? Could you see them coming to Breffney Park and maybe upsetting a few people? I mean, I don't know what the odds are for this game. Maybe they might be even, to be fair. I think you could really see this game being a draw, but could you see Meath putting it on your own lads this weekend?
Yeah, like it is hard to know. Like, and I suppose like a lot of these games, it seems to be whatever teams need is greater. But I think Meath probably need the points that bit more than us. But I think we will be mad to put one over them. And again, Aaron, it is a local derby, and anytime you're playing your rivals, you normally do. Hopefully, the Cavan lads will step up to the plate. But you wouldn't be surprised. Like, obviously, Meath had a good win last weekend. And obviously, I was talking to our fellow pundit Joe Sheridan a couple of days ago, and he probably wasn't overly impressed with how Meath played there last weekend. And I was watching Graham Gertie on and off the ball there during the week, and he probably wasn't impressed himself. But look, they've done enough to get the wins and results, so they'll be happy enough. Colin O'Rourke, he'll have his study done, the Cavan lads in the form and prowess of some of the lads at the minute. But look, again, it would be nice to see kind of strong Meath kind of come up through the ranks again, and obviously compete for your Leinster Championships, and get a strong Meath back again. I'm hearing serious talk of a very, very good and big, strong Meath under 20 team at the minute. I think that's the minor team from a couple of years ago. So don't be surprised if you hear for the Meath under 20s. Probably much to your disgust having a good team this year. But look, again, I think it will be cagey. It will definitely be tight. Hopefully free flowing, and I think as a commenter there said, Paddy Lynch probably will be the difference maker. He probably will. Meath will have their homework done on him. They will be marking him very closely. He'll be a watchman. He'll be a watchman now for the rest of the year. Probably the rest of his playing days. He's that good. I was talking to Mickey Graham actually in a couple of weeks ago there, and he's obviously coaching the Leitrim lads at the minute, and he just said it's a lot less pressurized. I suppose he's in with Andy Moore on there, and he was basically saying with Paddy Lynch that if he can just be consistent, at what he's doing, if he could do that week in, week out, Cavan really would be in a good place. And I suppose that level of consistency for Paddy maybe over the years hasn't been there, but he's really doing very, very well at the minute. And as I said on Twitter there last week, Ray Gallagher can only be impressed with how things are going at the minute. And I like the way even Pork Falk has kind of been moved around the middle the field at the minute. He's kind of been moved up to wing back there. And I think sometimes Pork Falk, when he's probably listed to mark the main man and the team we're playing, might struggle a bit. Defensively, he can kind of be caught off guard at times. So I think he's just better suited just getting up the field, and maybe can be pushed out instead of being played full back, because he just enjoys getting up the field and scoring. Things are moving very well at the minute, and I suppose if you're a Cavan supporter, you definitely do have to be happy with the way the team is progressing.
What do you reckon then in terms of a prediction? You reckon you'll beat them?
I think we will win. I hope we will win and keep up this good run of form. It's in Breffni Park. Obviously, your home advantage, as people always say, it's nearly worth a point or two to you. Meath probably, they have had two good wins, but I think the way Cavan are at the minute, Ray Gallagher will be mad for a win this weekend. Again, it will be tight, it'll be cagey, but I think we'll get a win this week. I think we will get a win this weekend, and you could be looking potentially at a 3 or 4 point win. Fingers crossed for the boys in blue.
Yeah, I think I'd go for Cavan as well to come through.
Cheers, Aaron. Top man.
No bother at all. Look, I'm favourite for a favour,
I looked after you with Dublin, did I? Or did I say draw with you?
I think you went the other way. Yeah, I think maybe
draw,
me might win this,
We'll see. Fingers crossed for the boys in blue. Keep winning. But the only thing is, it's a fun thing before we jump on to the next game, Aaron. I would probably like to stay put in Division 2, and that probably sounds a bit mad or whatever, but I just think it is the level we're at. We've been only getting 1 point. We only bet Live by a point. We only bet Cork by a point. We got bet by a point against Donegal. We bet Kildare by a few points. So I do think maybe give this Ray Gallagher project maybe a year or two, and then maybe look at Division 1 football. I just think if we can just stay put. I know winning's a habit, keep winning and breed momentum and stuff, but it sounds probably like, is it a mad thing to say? Just I want to stay in Division 2. I'm not sure. Is it? You want to create high standards, so on and so forth. But I genuinely would be happy with Division 2 football next year. I don't know if there's any Cavan fans watching here tonight, but I'd be happy to stay put. And that's not being lazy or lacking desire or going up, but I'd be happy with Division 2 next year.
Yeah, no, I can understand that, to be fair, because you don't want to go straight up to Division 1 and then come straight back down and have a bit of negativity. So I can completely understand that. In fairness, two teams that definitely won't have any worries about Division 1 football next year is both Cork and Kildare. They'll more so have Division 3 potentially on their mind as it stands. Cork, obviously, with their first win of the season last week against Fermanagh, first win in the league if you're not counting pre-season. And Kildare are obviously 4 from 4 in terms of defeats so far in the league. Like, it feels like Kildare are already gone. Obviously, huge win for Cork, just about getting over the line against Fermanagh last time out with Maurice Shanley getting that late goal. Like, Cork at home in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, especially after that win versus Fermanagh, you'd have to fancy them.
God only knows.
But Kildare, like, you're looking at Kildare and you're thinking, like, it just doesn't look like there's going to be a kick out of them at all, really, is there? Like, I know, like, obviously we didn't get to see too much of the Meath Kildare game, like, obviously with Allianz League Sunday and everything else, but I don't know, like, I don't really know if, like, I know some people were saying Kildare played well, but from what I've seen, I don't really think they did, to be perfectly honest. But what do you reckon for this one?
Yeah, like, look, I suppose the hardest thing, it's a tough thing to do in life. It's a tough thing to do in sport. But when things are up against you, and I know some of the Kildare footballers, when they're bet there last weekend, throwing the gloves on the ground and look frustrated. But I just think it seems like it's a very hard thing to turn around. And I think Glenn Ryan, to the best of our knowledge, and I suppose me and you were not involved in the Kildare camp, or we're not near it, but it probably just looks like a bit of an unhappy camp at the minute. It just doesn't seem to be any cohesion. And I know, obviously, look, you can talk about the backer team, your Johnny Doyles, your Dermot Earleys, your Anthony Rainbows, so on and so forth, but sometimes, obviously, the best players sometimes don't make the best of coaches, or is it just a case of maybe Johnny Doyle replacing Mr. Glenn Ryan? We'll wait and see, but yeah, they've just been very, very disappointing. And I think Cork, obviously Daniel Gould and Matthew Hurley, our fellow pundits, will tell us, like, Cork had just, God knows what you get with Cork. Even when we were playing them, we didn't know what was going to happen early. So this weekend, but two teams that very well, obviously, with Kerry is just in very, very bad form, and obviously Cork only getting the win against Fermanagh last weekend. So I think Cork might just get over the line in this one. I think home advantage will be key for them. I think Kildare going up to Cork, morale low, not getting results. Glenn Ryan just looking very kind of peeved off in his post-match interviews. I just can't see it turning around too quickly. Tight little spin up to Cork. And yeah, I think Cork will get the 2 points here. And I think Division 3 football is on the horizon for this Cork team. Sorry, Kildare team.
Yeah, Gavin says if Kildare lose this, I wouldn't fancy them to win the Tailteann with Westmeath. And Sligo potentially in it with a few others. Yeah, no, you certainly wouldn't. You certainly wouldn't. And yeah, I'd have to agree with yourself, John. I think I would have to go with Cork to have a bit too much for Kildare at the minute. As you said, like, Kildare just seem to have massive problems on and off the field. And a lot of their big players as well. I know a lot of chat does go into their backroom team and everything else, but I think a lot of their big players just haven't performed over the last couple of years as well. They just haven't,
like, really,
for whatever reason.
Yeah, like, and not to prolong this, but like, if I was like a Kildare supporter, like, you have to be scratching your head, like, and obviously, like, you can't, no one can control what a person does, but like, with Daniel Flynn there, like it just seems to be one of the great unknowns. I know he came on as like a substitute, but you have to be getting so much more out of him. Like, he's the county's marksman. He's probably one of the best footballers Kildare have ever produced, and he just, whatever the situation is there, like, just doesn't seem to be a happy camp. But I don't know. I think, does Glenn Ryan, does he see out the rest of the year? Does he walk maybe after some of these games in the league? Does he walk before the championship? I'm not too sure. Does Johnny Doyle just come in and replace him? Is that the long-term plan? God only knows. But I just think if Cork would get over the line this weekend, I know it's probably a tricky task to go up to Cork and try and get a result, but I just think Glenn Ryan, I think I said this on my own podcast, or was James Brady's podcast, I'm not too sure, but I just think Glenn Ryan's days are numbered in that Kildare hot seat, and I think the misery is going to continue this weekend.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think I'd have to go with Cork to come through that one. Fermanagh against Armagh. Can we see any shocks here? Fermanagh at home, difficult place to go. Or Armagh are looking very strong at the minute, in fairness. It'd be very hard, you'd reckon, for Fermanagh to get anything here. Yeah,
Armagh win this game, Aaron. Tough place to go. I could write a book on journeys down to Brewster Park over the years. The Cavan played for Man in Brewster Park over the years, and obviously under 21 finals we won. But yeah, Armagh win this. I think they'll keep up their form. Will it be a hammering? I don't think so. I think Armagh could comfortably win this, probably maybe with 7 or 8 points, I'd say. I think they'll really pull away at the end. Brian O'Neill coming on last weekend had a very good game. Not sure about the haircut though. Geez, I think he's going for the mullet. What is the story of these mullets, Mr. Prendergast? A lot to be said for a fade. They have to start copying me and you. But look at Armagh, Johnny Murton was saying during the week, they are hitting the right form at the right time. A lot of lads come back in. Soupy Campbell doing very well at the minute. We've seen Charlie O'Burns come on as a sub at the weekend. So Fermanagh, I was impressed with Fermanagh's performance against Donegal in the first half. Well organised, compact, and then they just completely went to the dogs, I suppose, in the second half. But yeah, I think this is probably one of the more predictable results. Fermanagh will probably try to park the bus, try and make Armagh life difficult for themselves. But no, I think Armagh will get the win this weekend, and you're probably looking at 7 or 8 points victory for the lads in orange.
Yeah, I'd have to go for Armagh as well. I think it will be a little bit closer. I think 3 or 4. I could see Fermanagh making it very tough. They're obviously very hard to beat in Brewster Park. I think they're unbeaten at home so far in the league. Maybe the Donegal game might have been Fermanagh.
Yeah, I don't.
Meath and Kildare were the 2 home games I think they had.
Yeah, but I don't know. I could just foresee and look at it all happens in the day, but I could just see Armagh kind of opening up in Fermanagh here, and I can. Armagh will be mad to get back up to Division 1 as well. And, 2 points probably will be on the rise this weekend. But I can just see Armagh, I can see them coasting home with this. It could be wrong. Fermanagh could completely park the bus and, stink the place out. But, Armagh get the 2 points this weekend.
Yeah, I think so as well. Donegal versus Louth, similar scenario. Donegal at home, though. Very hard to see anything other than a Donegal win here.
Yeah, Donegal get over the line. I think Louth could be staring down the barrel of relegation potentially if they don't get something out of this weekend. We'll have to wait and see. It's 2 teams that go down, Aaron, isn't it? 2.
It is, yeah. 2 teams that go down, yeah.
2, yeah. So obviously, potentially Louth and potentially who are we talking there? Louth and who else? Kildare. So look I think Donegal will get the win, especially at home. Louth, a bit of a journey for them to go up the road to Donegal. Obviously, Oisin Gallen flying at the minute, and Paddy McBurty, you keep saying it, has the bit between the seat again, really looks very interested to push on for Jamie McGuinness this year. So I think Donegal will win. Is it going to be a spectacle? Will you be paying your I don't know is it in GA Go or I don't know is it on the box at all this weekend? But I think it's not going to be. It's probably not going to be a game for the ages. I wouldn't say. Sam Roy, a lot of pressure on him to deliver the goods this weekend too, and Mr. Grimes as well. But I think probably another. I wouldn't say obvious result of the weekend, but Donegal mad for promotion, mad to get up to Division 1 again. 2 points on the horizon this weekend, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with how well Donegal have looked so far this year under Jim McGuinness, and obviously the form of Patrick McBurty, Oisin Gallen's been absolutely brilliant as well. Even if he obviously did miss a penalty last time out, he's been in great form in fairness. Yeah, so I think it would have to go for a Donegal win. Moving on to Division 3 then, Down versus Sligo. Looking at a lot of these Division 3 games, a lot of them feel very predictable, but could you see the Sligo? I mean, look, Sligo do have 3 wins from 4, but Down are an absolutely flying form. So, you couldn't really bet anything against the Down win here. Yeah,
I think Down will win this weekend. Obviously Down, they'll be mad to get up to Division 2, and obviously Conor Lafferty will be mad to get them up. And I think I was hearing stories of Conor Lafferty. I think when they're playing Antrim there a couple of weeks ago, it was a Kevin Kenny or Kevin McGurr, or Kevin Kenny was saying that the Conor Lafferty was roaring the absolute hell of them at half time, or get into that bloody dressing room, so God knows what was said. So I think Down will get the win this weekend. I think that Conor Lafferty project, I think I said to you last year, it could be this year, next year, where they really, get the fruits of the labour. But Down will beat Sligo this weekend. I'd be quite sure of it. Sligo will put up a big fight. Obviously, Tony McEntee would be mad to put one over his former Down counterparts. But I think Down will get the job done this weekend.
Absolutely, yeah. Richie says, hoping Sligo will give Down a game this weekend, showing their potential. Look, Sligo have had some good results this year. There's absolutely no doubt about that, and you will be curious to see how they can get on against Down. I would even say a 1 or even if they lost this game about 1 or 2 points, I think would show a good bit of progress from a Sligo point of view. But look, either way, Sligo aren't getting relegated. So I think finishing mid-table in Division 3, I think is more than a good enough achievement for them. Antrim versus Westmeath. Westmeath obviously have won every game so far, 4 wins from 4. A lot of them haven't been convincing. Going to Corrigan Park, it is a banana skin this when you look at Antrim, 2 wins. They've obviously lost their last 2, but won their opening 2. I don't know if you spoke to our mutual Kevins, as I like to call them, but
mutual Kevins, too many Kevins in that group chat. Antrim, what reminds me of Corrigan Park at that time, Mr. Prendergast, when you tipped Antrim, do you remember? You thought the beat us.
Yeah. Oh, you still haven't forgotten that.
Never until the day we pass out. But no, look, I think Antrim, tough place to go. Like Carrick Park, my God, like for the Cavan lads that time, it was a journey and a half. But no, I think Westmeath, it's time to get up to Division 2 again. For the talent that they have, the players that they have, and obviously we've seen them win the Tall Cup a couple back in 22, obviously beating ourselves. But tough place to go. Antrim, not great shakes. Bad last 2 games out. Kevin Kenny very honest about where the Antrim lads are at the minute. On the podcast there last week, if anyone wants to kind of check it out, how they're doing. But yeah, I think Westmeath will get the win this weekend. You're probably looking at maybe 5 to 6 points for Westmeath in the end up.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like what Westmeath though, at the same time, like even against Limerick, I think it was only a 3 or 4 point win. So Westmeath haven't been beating teams comfortably. So I think that might give Antrim a slight bit of confidence. But at the same time, you could argue Westmeath haven't been playing well, and yet they have 4 wins from 4. So there we go. Yeah, I think we can both very much agree that Westmeath will come through that. Limerick against Clare. Limerick obviously 4 defeats from 4. Clare have put a good couple of wins together, even if they've lost half their team. I don't know. I mean, can you see Jimmy Lee doing the business for Limerick? Can they get their first win of the season?
No, Clare will get the win this weekend, my man. And get up to Division 2 again. I think that's probably their aim. I know, obviously, I've seen a piece with Owen Kerry. I think he done an interview there today saying the penny's kind of dropped, that he kind of misses the county football. So it'd be interesting to see, do we see him for the rest of the year, or does he get a call back in, or does he go back in? But yeah, Clare will get a win this weekend. I think Limerick probably are staring down the barrel of relegation. It just hasn't gone right for them at all. I think Limerick have really gone to, I suppose, the dogs, really, for want of a better phrase, since Billy Lee has left. Clare to get to win this weekend.
Offaly versus Wicklow, both teams with 4 defeats from 4. Interesting, actually, with Division 3, you have 3 teams all who have 4 games and 4 defeats so far, which is a little bit mad, because I know Matthew gave us a good statistic during the week or in the last show, where only 1 team have ever stayed up when they've had 4 defeats from their opening 4 games. And in Division 4 or in Division 3 this year, you've had 3 teams with 4 defeats, which is a little bit wild. And obviously this is 2 of them in both Offaly and Wicklow. Offaly, like, I don't know what on earth has happened to them this year. Like they've dropped an absolute mile. And like surely they can, like Wicklow, to be fair, have been beaten quite comfortably in a lot of their games. So surely Offaly get the victory here and bounce back, because like Offaly going down to Division 4 would be a bit mad. It'd be a bit like when we saw Cavan go down to Division 4, not to remind you.
A dark day, Christ, a dark day. It's like after winning like the Ulster Championship there, a couple of months previous. Christ, yeah, I remember that. I was like, whoa, is this actually happening? Offaly will get the win this weekend. Wicklow without the manager, Oisin McConville, at the minute. 3 to 2 more weeks, I think, to go with that ban. Still knocking out the podcast. I see though he's still keeping up at the punditry. So yeah, not having, I suppose Oisin probably is he. Can he? But how does the dynamics of that work, Aaron? Do you know? Like, can Oisin go? Can he go to the games? Like, or how? Or can he?
I think he can sit in the stand. Yeah, I think he can sit in the back of the stand or something. I don't know if he does now, to be fair, because obviously like Ockram's a very small stadium pitch, so he'd be sitting right beside the fans, that way, like, so it's not like Crow Park where you're sitting up, you have your own little cozy seat
box for that,
yeah, do you know what I mean?
It's like Arsene Wenger back in the day, or was it Jose Mourinho thrown in amongst the Chelsea fans? That'd be Oisin McConville this weekend. But yeah, Offaly get a win this weekend. I would be surprised. We really have fallen off the wagon. It's hard to believe it. I had Anton Sullivan on to be there last year, and he was talking about promotion, and he was following the Cavan team and results we were getting, and what team were Cavan going with this weekend. And I don't really know what the story is with Offaly this year. It's hard to really put your finger on it, but I think they will beat Wicklow. Yeah, I think that thing with Oisin, being banned for the couple of games, and look, a bit of unrest maybe in the camp. It's hard to really call it, but yeah, I think Offaly will get the win in this weekend.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think I think Offaly will bounce back and get their first win of the season. Division 4 then, Carlow and Wexford. Carlow, I suppose, are on course for promotion after beating Mickey Graham's Leitrim, or Andy Moran's Leitrim, with in the background. With I don't know if you've seen that goal on Twitter from Colm Hutton. It was an absolute scorcher of a goal to win Carlow the game with the last kick of the ball. But yeah, like Wexford, a very odd team. Like they can, they absolutely battered Waterford last week, but they were battered themselves the week previous when they played Laois. So like Carlow are on course for promotion,
Yeah. Oh, I'm loving your enthusiasm. No, like this game, this game very interesting this weekend. I think, Christ, I'm hearing Ben Brosnan still playing for the Wexford footballers, and like Ben Brosnan,
he is.
Like Ben Brosnan, like my God, like he must be playing for the Wexford footballers since 2008, I think 07, 08. Like, and that's a remarkable time to be playing for the Wexford lads. Matty Ford used to kind of go on about the hardship of playing for the Wexford lads at the minute, but Carlow, Wexford, Niall Crew be mad to get a result against Wexford. Look, I'll go with Matty Ford. I'll give him a boost this weekend. Wexford to get the job done.
There we go. I don't think the Carlow Ultras will be too happy to hear about that one. I'll go for Carlow victory. 3 wins out of 4, and obviously big win at last time out against Leitrim. And fair play to Carlow GA actually posting their highlights up on Twitter as well, so you can actually
because they're getting shafted on the Sunday game, like because like my God, like the Sunday game there last weekend, like holy my, like it just. No coverage of barely any coverage of Division 1 games. No coverage.
They just ran through the results. They just
ran through the results. It was kind of like one, like a podcast, or if you're under any time constraint or something, like Joanne Campbell, bang, 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 bang. So very, very, very poor coverage there last weekend. No coverage of any games. Go back to Cavan. Like, you're talking a minute on some games, and really poor analysis. And sure, was it Paul Flynn and was it Lee Keegan on analysis? Like the pair of boys nearly didn't know what to say about some of the games. Like it was just. Oh, there's a serious gap in the market there, Mr. Prendergast.
There is, and yeah, not to hype on too much about that, but even the chat about the GA president and everything else. Look, and I know it's
Larry done a fantastic job, didn't he?
Yeah. No, I think Larry McConnell was very good.
Oh, he made it.
That's his name, isn't it? Larry McConnell.
Is it? No. Do I believe? Is he?
No. It's
we got that stage of the podcast. I believe anything. Larry McCall. I know. God, with like the fake name or the forgetting lots of names and referees, and it's really, really hard to know what he brought to the table. Sorry, before I rudely interrupted you there.
Yeah, no. I was just saying. I was just joking. Yeah, saying Larry McConnell and everything else. I actually don't know where I was at, to be honest. Oh no, yeah, with the coverage talking about the new president coming in, Jarlath Burns and everything, which is great and everything else. But like they spoke about that for 10-15 minutes. Like they could have easily just shown highlights and mentioned that a little bit at the end, or had a separate program. But sure, look, we won't ramble too much into all that, because look, there is Division 4 games going on, and we will mention them, unlike the Sunday game. As Gavin was saying earlier, the Shannon El Clasico, Longford Leitrim. What do you reckon?
Longford Leitrim, very, very tight game to call. And as I said to you a couple of minutes ago, I was talking to Mickey Graham, and he is happy the way the Leitrim lads are moving at the minute. Promotion, probably they would love to get it. They would love to get up to Division 3 at least. But yeah, this will be interesting. Longford home advantage as well. I think it'll be very tight, like Leitrim's game last weekend that they played. Very hard to call this one. Very hard to call. I'll go with Leitrim because of Mickey Graham, and sure, he might get the Leitrim boys over the line against this Longford team at home.
Yeah, I think I'll go for Leitrim as well. Longford's only wins against Waterford and London, in fairness, and Leitrim will need to keep their promotion hopes alive, and I think they will. Tipperary versus Waterford. This should be a cracker.
Yeah. Oh Lordy, yeah, it's kind of like the graveyard shift at this stage. Tipperary and Waterford, yeah, like another game that's probably just look at if you could do a podcast on the unfortunate events of Waterford football in recent years. It's really, really tough on them, and fair play. As I think I said this, I basically said this to you every year on every podcast we do. Fair play to the Waterford lads, keeping the show on the road, going to training, going to matches, doing their gym sessions. It's a real credit to them. I think it's the Paul Mansfield, is it? Over the Meath man that's over them, and yeah, it just can't be easy on them. Like, they'll get bet this weekend against Tipperary. I'd be very surprised if they were to get any sort of result. They might, who knows, but I can't see it. But, you know, Tipperary will get the win. Obviously doing quite well at the minute. But, you know, just, yeah, it's tough for the Waterford lads, you know, keeping the show on the road, keeping numbers up, keeping interest. And, yeah, like, obviously a hurling predominant county. But, yeah, Tipperary will get the win this weekend. But it just furthers the question for, I suppose, Waterford going forward to be playing football. Like, I know they'll try to keep the show on the road, but the longevity of all this is hard to know.
Yeah, like, there's zero incentive really at all, is there, for playing with Waterford football at the minute? And yeah, no, I'd have to go with Tipperary, like, at home as well in Semple Stadium. You would fancy Tipperary all day long to come through it. Like, Waterford have put up a few fights against Tipperary in recent years. They nearly got a draw there last year, but I think, yeah, I'd have to go with Tipperary to come through and win.
Nearly going to draw. Like, oh man, it's tough. It's a tough station.
I know, but you have to look at the positives, you know. And I'm trying to find the positives for the Waterford faithful. Last but not least, then, Laois versus London. Laois obviously have won every game so far. Yeah, like, I think I left this one for last because I think Laois are going to win this, and that's that, really, you know, case closed.
Yeah, Laois will get the win this weekend. Just McNulty doing very well with them. Hopefully he doesn't have any SDLP meetings this weekend and he'll be able to get away to the game. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But yeah, they'll get a win this weekend. London, Michael Maher still flying the flag for the London lads. Fair play to him, working very hard, no doubt. But yeah, I think the Laois lads will continue to form home advantage as well, and they could be looking at Division 3 football next year.
Yeah, Cavan says considering Tip drew at London, Waterford could get something maybe. Yeah, I mean, look, I suppose, look, you have to clinch onto those stats. And fully enough, actually, when Laois and London played each other last year in the Tailteann Cup, it actually was a draw. So, look, maybe London can take a little bit of something from that. But I think Laois, in the form that they are, I think we can all see them getting the win. Before we finish up, in terms of player of the week, game of the week, what are you thinking?
Oh, good question. Player of the week, player to watch this weekend. I know, obviously, all the talk can be about him, but it'd be interesting to see David Clifford against Tyrone this weekend. Even in that Derry Dublin game, you've your McGuigan, you've obviously Colin Callan at the minute, but I think it'll be very interesting what Kerry are like against Tyrone this weekend. That kind of response. So let's see what David Clifford has to maybe offer this weekend. That's probably more an obvious one. I might go with a less obvious one, maybe. Let's see now. Let me see a less obvious player to stand up this weekend. We'll go with maybe, let's say, in Division 1 or Division 2 games, any kind of players there. Any kind of players from Fermanagh, kind of Donegal and the things. Let's see now. I think if Loud or maybe to get anything from that trip up to Donegal, can Samuel Roy step up and, kick 8 or 9 points to lead it? Be interested to see that. Game to watch this weekend. Yeah, you really have to look at Tipperary and Waterford. I think I know Dublin and Derry, my man. Really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Cavan, Meath. I'm looking forward to Kerry, Tyrone. But yeah, Dublin, Derry will be unbelievable. Let's hope.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I'm player of the week for myself would probably look. Fenton, I think, could have a big game, especially like that midfield battle with Glass and Rogers in there. And actually, who partners Fenton's going to be a big one because Pater O'Coffey-Byrne has been the man for the last couple of weeks. Sean Bugler has been in around there as well, so that could be a really interesting one. You look at Enda Smith for Roscommon, could be huge for Mayo. But yeah, I think if I have to pick someone, I'd go Fenton for Dublin, and game of the week, Dublin versus Derry, or an even Mayo versus Roscommon. Maybe it won't be the most high scoring, but I think it could be a bit of an eventful game, that one, I think.
or even Jack McCarron or some of these Monaghan lads to really step up for Monaghan this weekend. Like Monaghan really will need a big.
Maybe.
Yeah, Conor McCarthy maybe could be a player to watch this weekend. It really is time for Monaghan to buck up their acts. So, yeah, potentially maybe Conor McCarthy to step up for Monaghan this weekend. It's all to play for this weekend. We're looking forward to it.
Absolutely, we are. I think it's going to be absolutely huge weekend and a lot of ramifications. Like some teams can get promoted this weekend, some teams could get relegated as well potentially. So, it's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on the games. John, cheers very much for coming on. Make sure everyone to check out the JMac podcast when you get a chance. And anyone who's tuned in here, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And John, cheers very much for coming on. And to the viewers, we will speak to you all soon.